What's up, badass Black Desert Mobile fans? Legit here with a much awaited 2020 updated class guide for Black Desert Mobile. It's been a while since I've made one of these. In fact, I only made one before the game came out almost 8 months ago. So it's about time to get to it, and with it, we have to go over a couple things since this is a guide geared towards newer players. I know some of you veteran players like to watch as well. Now, BDM has 15 classes to choose from at the time of this video, with 12 more to potentially release. I'm only going to cover the 15 classes we currently have, as the remaining classes could take 2 months to a year to release globally. This means it's going to be hard for me to give you an in-depth analysis compared to someone who has been playing the class for months. I do play a little bit of all classes, so I do think I can help give you a better understanding of each class. With that being said, all of these statements are my opinion and perspectives. I urge you to seek out your class Discord and veteran players within the various communities, as they offer infinite more knowledge on the specifics of each class. Before we begin, I want to state the obvious. While some classes have higher scores now, BDM is buffing classes and releasing newer classes every month, so the meta can change from month to month. Well, mostly change anyways. So I recommend you picking a class that you enjoy playing and not the meta class that's the best this month. Not to mention that the meta to you won't matter, because by the time you have the CP required to do guild vs guild and higher end content, the meta will have shifted many times. For newer players, I need to explain two things before we begin. Once you reach level 60 and complete a side quest, you will have the opportunity to complete Awaken or Ascension. If your class has this option, at the moment the GrandMaster can only ascend. Awaken has not been released for him. If you choose to ascend your class, you keep the same weapons that you had prior to Awaken/Ascension. If you choose to awaken your class, your weapons will change. Don't worry, if you pick a class and don't like it, you can change. They do give you the free weapon and class change coupons for free for the first time. Alright, I'm going to cover the Awakened and Ascended classes in order. Let me first explain the grading system. So I decided to only go with 3 scores. PvE, which is your farming/grinding score. PvP, which combines all PvP. I do know some classes do better at large or small scale PvP. This will be an overall score of all PvP aspects. Lastly is boss content, how well a class can clear boss rushes. I apologize for the longer intro. Without further ado, let's dive right in. Up first, we have the Ascended Ranger, the Huntress. This class is considered the God class, as it has been the S-tier class in every category since launch. She uses the same weapons as pre-ascension, the longbow and a dagger for an offhand weapon. Her farming/grinding clear speed has always been top tier. The range of many of her skills allows her to farm distant monsters while not having to move. This allows for maximum farming results. For PvP, because of this range and her evasive invincibility skill, she is elusive and deadly from afar. Knocking down enemies before they even have a chance is common with this class. For boss rushes, the same is true here. All you have to do is evade, stay at a distance, and pound the boss with her variety of ranged skills. She scores a 5 stars out of 5 in every category. The Awakened Ranger turns into a Windwalker. This class is the fastest class in the game with multiple gap-closing skills. She is a melee class with a few medium-range skills. Her farming speed is mid-tier, as most melee classes just can't maintain the kills per minute as classes that have range. Her small-scale PvP is top-tier with a variety of gap closers, immunities, and CC combos. She isn't as effective for large-scale PvP as she is a melee class mainly. For boss rushes, she also scores mid-tier. She does offer a few skills with medium range to help with bosses. However, like all melee classes, it's just harder dealing with bosses while having to evade constantly. Overall, mid-tier class. If you enjoy small-scale PvP, she is worth a try. At the moment, she is one of the least played classes and is awaiting a buff to help make her more viable. The Ascended Witch turns into an Archmage. She uses a staff and dagger for her weapons. She is a ranged caster class using mainly elemental skills. She is one of, if not the best, farming/grinding class in the game. She can stand in one spot and kill targets from afar with never having to move. For small-scale PvP, she is one of the lowest tier classes. However, for large-scale PvP, she does offer group buffs as well as heavy ranged damage. She can be super effective if played correctly for guild vs guild and node wars. For boss rushes, she also scores top tier as most ranged classes do, simply casting skills, evade, cast some Norse skills while staying at range. Her variety of AoE skills also makes it easier clearing monsters. She is currently one of the least played classes, especially since Awakened has released and some of those playing Archmage shifted to Invoker. Speaking of the Invoker, her weapons of choice are the AAD Sphera and a Magic Tome. This ranged beast also comes with a sidekick. I like to call him Groot myself. She can summon him in battle to help attack. As far as farming / grinding, she is also mid to top tier with a variety of ranged skills and her sidekick to help. For PvP, she is better than her counterpart at small scale, offering immunities, CCs. Combine that with her ranged skills, she can be deadly. For large scale PvP, she isn't as good as she doesn't offer team buffs that the Archmage does. For boss rushes, she also scores top tier with the ranged spells, again to help make quick work of any boss. The Ascendant Warrior turns into a Gladiator. He uses a longsword and a shield for his weapons. This guy can be super effective and yet super annoying in small scale PvP. His shield offers a unique feature that no other class has, the ability to have forever immunity as long as the shield up and facing in the right direction. It does take some practice, but once you master how to use the shield, you can be deadly in small scale PvP. As far as farming, this class is low tier. He is a melee class. While some of his skills do have AoE and range, he has to be up close to targets, which slows his kills per minute. For large-scale PvP, he also scores low because he plays more of a tanky role, frontline, and he does help CC targets. Oftentimes, melee classes just don't fare well in these situations, and you often find yourself dead before you can catch a target. For boss rushes, again, another melee class here. He scores lowest in this category among all active global classes. The Awakened Warrior turns into a Berserker. This badass wields a great sword and a seal. This class got 2 buffs on the Korean server prior to Awakening being released on Global, and both of these buffs came to Global. Now this class is currently missing his Rage Mode skill, which is unfortunate. However, that is expected to unlock down the road. This class is mid to high tier for farming / grinding. He is a melee class with a variety of AoE skills, making him viable for top tier kills per minute. For PvP, he is considered top tier with his crazy charge skills. They keep you stun locked for what seems like eternity. For large scale PvP, he is also mid to high tier. He is one of the best melee classes right now, and his level 70 rage / heal skill makes him super hard to deal with for a short period of time. For boss rushes, his skills offer high damage and he has some evasive skills. He is a mid to high tier as well here. Being melee, it's just not as easy to do bosses compared to ranged classes. The Ascendant Giant becomes a Titan. His main hand weapon is an axe and his offhand weapon is an ornamental knot. The Titan is known as the Spin to Win class. Because of his massive AoE spin, he does exceptionally well at farming / grinding. He doesn't rank the highest, but he is mid to high tier, scoring 4 stars. For PvP, he's not very effective for small scale PvP. Large scale, he can be more viable with the Spin to Win skill. However, he is still a melee class, which makes it difficult to deal with ranged classes. For boss rushes, sadly, he doesn't score high here either. Most of his skills are melee range skills, and once he runs out of evades, he will struggle dodging mechanics. He scores mid to low tier overall. The Awakened Giant becomes a Destroyer, wielding an Iron Buster and a Cannonball for his weapons. This Iron Man lookalike has some solid versatility with his gap closing skills, his AoE skills, and even comes with some ranged on his skills. He scores very high for farming / grinding with 5 stars. He doesn't have the highest kills per minute, but he sure is close. For small scale PvP, he's more effective than a Titan, but still not top tier. Large scale PvP, he also scores mid to high tier, offering a huge jump to engage hordes of enemies or to catch targets trying to evade. He is a melee class, so he struggles from time to time, but if you use his skill set wisely, you can be super effective. For boss rushes, he does come with a few mid-range skills, and he offers some heavy damage skills as well. He scores 4 out of 5 stars. The Ascended Valkyrie turns into a Paladin. This shield-wielding badass uses a long sword and a shield for her weapons. This class is heavily focused on PvP. She has one of the lowest kills per minute for farming / grinding, thus only 2 stars. For small scale PvP, she is a top tier class. She is a high skill class as well, so she does take a while to learn how to use properly. Once you learn how to use her shield, combos, and CCs, you can be unstoppable. For large scale PvP, she isn't as effective, but she's so good at small scale PvP, she still scores 5 stars. For boss rushes, she struggles here compared to other classes. She is a melee class. She does come with some ranged skills, but again, she's going to need to be close to the boss for most of the fight. Learning her skill combos will be key for completing these tasks. The Awakened Valkyrie becomes a Lancer. Her main hand weapon is a Lancier, and her offhand is an Armband. This class again is heavily focused on PvP, scoring 2 stars for farming / grinding, having almost the exact same kills per minute as the Paladin, both scoring one of the lowest. For PvP, this badass is awesome to play. Small scale, she isn't quite as strong as the Paladin, however large scale PvP is where she shines. Her ultimate ability is a great engage / stun ability, and again, she's a very difficult class to master, but once you learn the combos and skills, you can be deadly. For boss rushes, she also struggles being a mainly in-your-face class. She does come with some evade abilities aside from the standard evades, so be sure to use these wisely. Overall, a fun class to play, great for PvP, not too good anywhere else. The Ascendant Sorceress turns into a Raven. She uses an amulet and a talisman for her weapons. She is a very mobile class that comes with some ranged skills. Her farming / grinding speed is mid-tier, scoring average kills per minute. For small scale PvP, she is mid-tier. If you learn her combos and CC, she can be effective. For large scale PvP, she is a bit more relevant because of her ranged Doom Vortex skill and the cooldown time on it, so you can get away with spamming that skill. For boss rushes, once you learn her combos, boss rushes can be very easy to complete. She scores mid to high tier, overall a mid-tier class. The Awakened Sorceress becomes a Reaper. Her weapons are a Scythe and a Soul Orb. This is another spin to win class. She is my current main class and she is super fun to play. For farming / grinding, she is a top tier class with some of the best kills per minute, which does come from that spin skill. For PvP, she does slightly better than the Raven for small scale PvP once you learn the Death Circus / Soul Reaver combo. For large scale PvP, she is one of the better classes because of her spin to win ability, which does come with super armor, which is just nasty. Boss rushes, she does very well, maybe not as easy as the Raven in my opinion. However, she can still complete bosses with ease, as she does come with a few ranged skills. Overall, she is a high tier class. The Ascended Dark Knight turns into a Void Knight. Her weapons are a Kriegsmesser and an Ornamental Knot. This class is one of the best at small scale PvP with her Dark Mist ability, which allows her to engage and disengage fights whenever she wants to, allowing her to have full control of most fights. Large scale PvP, she also does exceptionally well, although she is a melee class mostly. She also scores mid to high tier for farming / grinding with above average kills per minute. For boss rushes, she does fairly well. Once you learn the skill combos to evade and engage the bosses, it will make clearing this content easier. Overall, fun class to play, god tier for small scale PvP. The Awakened Dark Knight becomes a Phantasma, aka Darkness. She uses a Vediant and a Magic Blade as her weapons. This class is considered god class at the time of this video. When Awakening launched a few weeks ago, everyone swarmed to this class, and for a good reason. She is top tier in every category. Kills per minute, she's one of the best. Small scale PvP, she has immunities, CCs, easy to learn combos, and she has range. I mean, some serious range to her skills. Large scale PvP, she is also one of the best because of her range to her skills. For boss rushes, again, one of the easiest classes to use. She can attack the boss from afar with various abilities, evade, and continue. Overall fun class to play, she is the current meta and considered to be god tier. Last but not least, we have the Striker, who ascends to become a GrandMaster. At the moment, there is no Awakened Striker. For his weapons, he uses a Gauntlet and a Vambrace. This melee bruiser is mid to high tier for all categories. He has average to high kills per minute. He does much better at small scale PvP compared to large scale. For arenas, he has immunities and knockdown combos that are easy to learn. Because he is a melee class, he does struggle in large scale PvP. For boss rushes, again mid to high tier. What holds him back mostly is being a melee class. He does have some higher damaging skills, and once you learn his skill combos and evades, you can complete these easily. That covers all 15 classes in Black Desert Mobile Global version. As new classes release, I will update this, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, as well as leave a like and drop a comment down below to help me out. I appreciate it. And with that being said, I will see you next time.